Okay, I was on my way to the Hoosier National Forest. Going to do some trail maintenance today. I just passed a motorist in distress here on I-64. So I've turned around, give them a hand, and see if I can't help him change his tire. They looked like they were having some trouble when I went by. Sometimes you just take the time to do things like this, and whether or not they need my help or not, you always get a pretty good feeling that at least you made the effort. Out pretty good. Did a couple U-turns and went back, and the car is already back on the highway. I actually see it in front of me with the emergency flashers on, so she probably had to end up putting her spare tire, one of those small spare tires on. I'm hoping that she gets somewhere where she can get that changed and get that tire fixed. Here at the Hoosier National Forest today. It's mid-February, and I think I'm going to go out and do a little trail maintenance. It's pretty warm for February, but there's going to be some high winds today. Going to have to take caution. Watch out for the falling branches out there in the forest. Hey, I'm really glad you came along. Going to show you what it's like to do a little trail maintenance today. The equipment that I use for doing trail maintenance out there, I like to take a set of loppers along. That's in case I get into some briars and some thick grass. Pair of loppers like this right here, and that's for my branches. A lot of times you'll have trees that'll grow out into the trail. The branches will grow out into the trail, and so I'll use a pair of loppers like this right here over the trail. I really don't think I'm going to get into a lot today, but we'll see how it goes. And there's a nice little campsite I'm going to get to that I'd like to show you, just in case you want to get out and do a little backpacking. When you're a YouTube creator, it takes so much more space up in your backpack because you've got to take multiple cameras, you got to take a tripod, you got to take other things like that. You can enjoy the video and share it with your family and friends. How's that for a wind gust for you? Yep, we'll be fighting the wind today. It's going to get pretty strong out here. You know, these signs are really expensive that they have out in the National Forest. You can see how much mold and stuff comes off of them. So anytime I go out and do some trail maintenance, I always try to stop. Thanks to Mrs. Melissa, she came up with this little kit for me. It's got a little rag in it. It has some Windex in it, and I like to clean them up. They look a lot better. Who knows who's going to be the next person down the trail, and they're going to stop and they're going to enjoy that, and that makes me feel good. like talking to my crow buddies. Sometimes they talk back, and sometimes, like that guy there, don't want anything to do with the conversation. Here's one of my favorite signs. Got her all cleaned up and ready for the spring. Now what's interesting is you see this big log right here. And in 2020, I came back here to clear this section, and this tree had fallen. This gigantic tree had fallen here and just missed the sign. Laid right next to it. So I guess she lives on. Just now, I had a big old spider crawling up my leg. And I mean, it was probably legs and all, probably, you know, about that big around, but it's the middle of February. And it just seems to me like I don't remember insects and animals and things like that coming out in the middle of winter. I just think everything's a little confused with how warm it gets and how cold it gets. You know, today is supposed to be in the 60s, low 60s. High winds, low 60s. Guess the spider thought he'd come out and crawl around a little bit and see what's going on. Well, I didn't kill him. I just put him on a log and said, buddy, you better find your shelter because winter's not over. You ever go hiking on days like this with pretty high winds like this? Anytime you stop for a break or just stop to readjust, stop to clean a sign, always look up, make sure there's no gigantic deadfall getting ready to come down and pound you on top of the head. A lot of people would say, shouldn't be out here on a day like this anyway. It's too much wind, but you know, there's always certain risks that you take. I look at this as a calculated risk. As long as I'm moving along here, I keep watching the trees. I'm hoping nothing comes down and slams me on top of the head, but we'll see how that goes. But always pay attention to what's above you. Very, very important. There we go. Onward we shall go. You know, I've had some people ask me before, what the heck is the big deal about having some briars going out into the trail? You know, I'm not out here doing this for like your pro hikers and your people that hike all the time and your backpackers. I'm out here for the beginners, the people that are trying to give this sport a chance. They're getting out here and they're coming through here. And the last thing I want to do is see, especially like with kids, I want to see kids coming down through here and get a briar in the face in the warmer weather in shorts and they get their legs all scratched up and stuff. So my suggestion is if you hike and you get out there and you backpack, maybe carry a little pair of pruners with you. And that way if you're walking along and you see a big old burly briar coming all the way across the thing, just stop for a second, take you a break, snip it off, come down through here. I not only snip them off so you won't hit them, but I snip them off far enough. They're not, you know, it's going to take a couple years before I've got to come down through here and do this section again. Anyways, I enjoy doing it. It's very rewarding to do it. Always keep in mind that if you decide to come out and do some trail maintenance, it's going to take a long time. You know, I'm the kind of hiker that I like to do, you know, I like to average 3 miles an hour. But the thing is when you do trail maintenance, you may literally stay in one spot for over an hour trying to get them trimmed up. If you're really out there to do the trail maintenance, that's your goal, you just got to do a section at a time and move forward. That's the way to do it. It's pretty good. I'm running into a lot more briars than I thought. I thought this was going to be the ridge, up above Salina Lake, and I wouldn't run into very many of them. So this low section's got a lot of briars. So, briars. Okay, here's one of those sections. I'm going to go ahead and go to the other end of it, take my pack off, and just start working my way back this way. Because even though this doesn't look too bad, in a month or so, this will be covered up and it'll be very difficult to walk down through here, especially if you've got shorts on, because the briars are going to really be reaching out. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that section right there, and then I'll go ahead and take me a lunch. And then I might show you what I have in the backpack. It's very important that you have the right gear with you. It's going to be in the low 60s, but tonight the rain comes in. Heavy rain all night, heavy rain tomorrow, and somewhere around noon the temperature will start dropping. Tomorrow night, 21. So you got to be prepared for that. If something happens out here, I've got emergency procedures in place. Mrs. Melissa knows where I'm at. She knows exactly the section of trail that I'm doing out here. Broke a leg, I'd have to stay out here until somebody would find me to stay warm, and you got to be able to stay dry. I'm thinking this was a victim of today. Looks pretty fresh. I bet that just broke off.